Samantha Parker stood in the airport parking lot, her fingers numb from the December wind, her heartbeat racing in an unpredictable rhythm. The chill bit at her cheeks, but inside, anxiety swirled like a storm. Her phone buzzed again, the same message blinking insistently. Family landing in 20 minutes. Be nice, babe. Ryan, be nice. As if that were a simple instruction. Being nice to a full-blown military family wasn't a polite suggestion. It was a strategic operation. The Parkers were disciplined to the core, precise to an almost absurd degree, and Samantha had a sneaking suspicion they had laminated routines for every possible holiday disaster. She exhaled, trying to center herself. Okay, Sam, deep breath. Play the role. You've got this. Christmas lights glimmered through the terminal windows, and for a brief second, she imagined the tree waiting at home, perfectly decorated, the guest rooms sparkling. Too sparkling, perhaps. She could practically see Linda Parker's sharp gaze sweeping over the house, ready to dissect every speck of dust last time she visited. Samantha remembered. Linda had lifted a picture frame, run her finger across the top, and murmured, "Dust hides where laziness lives, dear." Ever since, Samantha had waged a personal war against dust. The automatic doors slid open, and a blast of icy air hit her face. Inside, families reunited, children squealed, and holiday music played softly in the background. Samantha scanned the arrivals board. On time. Of course. The Parkers were never late. Punctuality wasn't a habit, it was genetic. She tightened her scarf. Mission starts now. They appeared at the gate like a military formation. First, Richard Parker, Ryan's father, retired colonel, tall, immaculately dressed, walking with a stiffness that suggested the floor itself must obey him. Behind him came Linda Parker, poise perfected to a dangerous degree, eyes sharp and scanning every detail of her surroundings. Bringing up the rear was Madison Parker, Ryan's younger sister, phone in hand, documenting every moment for Instagram, her enthusiasm practically vibrating through the air. "Sam!" Madison waved. Over-the-top energy radiating from her, Samantha forced a smile. "Hi, everyone!" Linda approached immediately, her eyes scanning Samantha from head to toe. "You're not wearing a proper coat. Did you check the temperature before leaving?" Samantha blinked. I... Temperature is a strategy," Richard added. "You don't fight the cold, you prepare for it." The subtle judgment in his tone made Samantha feel like she had already failed a test she didn't know she was taking. Ryan stepped forward, hugging her. "You survived the first 30 seconds. That might be a new record," he whispered, with a mischievous grin. She pinched his arm. "I'm going to fake a sudden emergency evacuation." The drive home was quiet at first, the tension palpable. Madison broke the silence by recording another Instagram story, narrating their journey, with an energy Samantha found simultaneously irritating and impressive. "Christmas with the Parkers! Hashtag family goals has arrived." Samantha blinked at her. "Family goals? If these are goals, my dreams need counseling." Linda opened the glove compartment mid-drive to check what she called the emergency kit, then buckled herself in. "Highway 84 or back road?" "Highway," Samantha replied cautiously. Richard's single hum of consideration felt like a full performance review. "Back road is safer, less traffic, more tactical," he added. "Tactical?" Samantha thought. "Do they grocery shop with tactical maps too?" Ryan leaned over to whisper, hiding his amusement. "Stay strong, soldier." By the time they arrived home, Samantha felt like she'd already completed basic training. Linda entered first, scanning the living room with precision. Eyes left, eyes right, tree, fireplace, rugs, mantel. Nothing escaped her gaze. "Not bad," she said. Samantha almost heard a victory fanfare. Not bad was essentially A+ in Colonel speak. Richard moved toward the tree. "The ornaments aren't symmetrical." Victory music abruptly ended. "Dad!" Ryan muttered. "It's a Christmas tree, not a parade formation." "Formation matters everywhere," Richard insisted, and Madison added her commentary. "Uneven ornaments reflect uneven priorities." I read that in a wellness article. Samantha could only stare. Please. Everything isn't a metaphor. Madison dinner was supposed to be simple. Pasta, salad, garlic bread. Safe, neutral, non-threatening. But Linda's first bite was met with a sharp lift of her eyebrow. Interesting choice. Pasta? For winter? Yes, Samantha said cautiously. Carbs slow the body down in cold weather. But it's fine, dear. We will adapt. Adapt? Samantha thought, clutching her fork. Did she just get lectured about pasta, like it was a tactical decision? Richard sipped water. Hydration is the foundation of functionality. How much water do you drink? Daily? Before she could answer, Madison piped up. Don't interrogate people during dinner. Interrogation disrupts digestion. I read that in a wellness blog. For the first time that evening, Samantha found herself silently admiring Madison later. When everyone had retreated to settle in, Ryan pulled Samantha into the kitchen. Babe, I forgot to tell you something, he said, neck rubbing a nervous rhythm. What? Another surprise inspection? Are we measuring curtain symmetry next? No, but you remember my mom's annual Christmas dinner tradition? The one where everything is judged, even the chairs? He nodded. She wants to host it here this year. Samantha froze. What? Here? Why didn't you stop her? She said it's the perfect opportunity to shape us into responsible adults. Her words, not mine. Her hands flew to her face. Your family already treats me like a construction project. Ryan squeezed her shoulders. Hey, we'll get through it, teamwork, remember? She sighed, overwhelmed but secretly reassured. Fine, teamwork. The next morning, Samantha opened her laptop to check her work schedule. A message from her boss popped up. Heading to Florida for the holidays. Samantha, you're in charge of holiday operations. Don't burn down the office. Dana. Samantha slapped her forehead. Oh, come on. Madison appeared instantly. What happened? Deep breath. Inhale clarity. Exhale chaos. Not today, Madison, Samantha muttered. Ryan read the message over her shoulder. Congrats, babe. You're the boss. I don't need congratulations. I need condolences. It hit her then. This holiday wasn't a break, it was a battlefield. Home and office both were theaters of chaos, and she was stuck in the middle, armed only with leftover pasta, a flickering sense of sanity, and a quiet hope that somehow, just somehow, she could survive. The next morning dawned with a deceptive calm. Samantha stood at the kitchen counter, coffee in hand, staring at the quiet house. For a brief moment, she allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, she could survive this holiday. Maybe Linda Parker hadn't already scoped out every flaw. Maybe her office wouldn't implode under her boss's holiday operations mandate. And maybe Ryan's family wasn't planning a covert inspection disguised as Christmas cheer. She took a sip of coffee and immediately realized, nope, none of that was true. From the other room came the unmistakable sound of a tape measure being extended with meticulous precision. She turned to see Linda Parker moving through the living room, scanning the rug, then the furniture, then the Christmas tree. Samantha hadn't even finished her first sip. Alignment, Linda said, almost to herself. Even the slightest deviation will throw off the energy flow of the space. Samantha blinked. Energy flow? Yes, dear, even Christmas is tactical. She pinched the bridge of her nose. I married a man who comes with a built-in general. Madison appeared in the doorway, camera in hand, narrating as if this were a documentary. If military precision had a family reunion, this would be it. She grinned at Samantha. You'll get used to it. Samantha wasn't sure she wanted to get used to it. Across the table, Richard Parker was cataloging every dish in the kitchen. Cutlery alignment is critical. Guests will notice if forks are not in a straight line. This could compromise morale. Morale. Over pasta, Ryan leaned against the counter, a small smirk playing on his lips. Don't worry, just go with it. You know, blend in, smile, survive. Samantha wanted to blend in like a chameleon with a nervous twitch, survival seemed more feasible. By mid-morning, the first wave of chaos hit. Samantha's phone buzzed insistently. Dana, her boss, was sending a flurry of messages and reminders about holiday operations. Apparently, the entire office was under her watch, and the slightest mishap would be her responsibility. Dana says the shipment of holiday packages might be delayed, Ryan read aloud, and the finance team might need you to, resolve some conflict about budget allocations. Samantha's stomach dropped. Conflict resolution during Christmas week, from her couch, with her mother-in-law breathing down her neck about rug symmetry. Perfect, she muttered. I can multitask chaos at home and professional disaster at work simultaneously. Ryan raised an eyebrow. Multitasking? That's a new kind of holiday spirit. Before Samantha could respond, Linda entered the kitchen, clipboard in hand. We need to review the dining plan. I've mapped out the entire seating arrangement. The position of each guest is strategic. It affects conversation, energy flow, and emotional impact. Samantha nodded, unsure whether to laugh or cry. Of course, totally strategic. Also, Linda continued, we need to discuss dessert options. Pies must be measured, portions balanced, sweetness calibrated. No surprises, Samantha. The dessert is mission critical. Mission critical dessert. Samantha realized she might need a full tactical briefing just to survive sugar. By afternoon, Samantha was juggling 3 disasters at once. At the house, Madison was filming her Christmas survival guide with Samantha Parker and commenting on everything from spoon placement to Christmas card alignment. At the office, Dana's email threads multiplied like an unstoppable virus. And somewhere in between, Linda was systematically reviewing Samantha's preparedness, offering critiques that ranged from polite to brutally precise. Ryan, sensing her stress, pulled her aside. Hey, breathe. One thing at a time. We'll tackle the dinner together. You're not alone. Samantha leaned into him for a brief second, finding a sliver of calm amidst the storm. I don't know how much longer I can manage all of this, Ryan. Between your family and Dana, I feel like I'm in the middle of a tactical operation that never ends. You're stronger than you think, he said softly. And you've got me. Teamwork. She tried to smile. Teamwork, sure. Let's see if my coffee survives this. Dinner preparations began in earnest. Linda's inspection-style approach left no corner untouched. Samantha chopped vegetables with precision. Trying to anticipate the Colonel's next critique, Madison offered continuous commentary. You're holding the knife too far from your hand. Angle is wrong. Also, watch your posture. Posture affects productivity. Samantha wanted to scream, but she smiled politely instead. This is Christmas now, apparently. Meanwhile, Dana's constant pings from work reminded her that she was still officially in charge of office operations. Emails about budget issues, holiday shipments, and staffing schedules flowed in nonstop. Samantha balanced her phone on the counter while stirring sauce, replying in short, carefully phrased sentences. By mid-afternoon, the house smelled like baked perfection. The tree gleamed, and every dish was strategically positioned. Samantha felt like she had successfully completed at least 3 covert missions. Then came Linda's final inspection. Linda said, walking slowly through the kitchen. Table setting, acceptable. Lighting, adequate holiday spirit. Present, though it could be enhanced with subtle candle placement. Samantha exhaled slowly, relief flooding her. For now, the house had passed for now. Dinner guests would arrive in less than 2 hours, and Samantha knew this peace was temporary. She glanced at her phone again. Dana's latest message had arrived. Check on the Smith account before the guests arrive. Efficiency is key. Don't forget the holiday morale email. She groaned. Coffee had already lost its effectiveness. She needed a strategy to survive both fronts. The military family at home and the corporate army online. Ryan walked past her, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We've got this, he said quietly. One step at a time. First, we survive dinner. Then, the world. Samantha looked around at the gleaming house, the strategically arranged dishes, and the meticulously measured desserts. Somewhere beneath the panic, beneath the tension and the chaos, she realized that this holiday, with all its absurdity and relentless structure, was shaping into something unforgettable, even if it killed her nerves first. And so, the battlefield of Christmas Day awaited. Both at home and at work, Samantha Parker was ready, armed with pasta, determination, and a fragile hope that somehow, just somehow, she could survive. By late afternoon, the calm Samantha had briefly enjoyed vanished completely. The sound of the doorbell echoed like the start of a countdown, signaling that the Parker family's first wave of guest inspections was about to descend. She felt her stomach tighten into a knot so precise, she almost wondered if Linda Parker had mapped it out in advance. The front door swung open, and instantly, the atmosphere transformed. Friends of the Parkers, neighbors, and distant cousins arrived, each seemingly handpicked for a subtle stress test, disguised as holiday cheer. Everyone spoke in measured tones, complimented decor in a way that felt like covert evaluation, and smiled with an intensity that bordered on tactical interrogation. Samantha attempted her best hostess smile while secretly praying her heart rate monitor wasn't visible. Ryan appeared beside her, calm as ever. "Remember, breathe, smile. Everything's fine." "Everything's fine," she repeated under her breath, though her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted the table settings one last time. Linda Parker floated into the living room, clipboard in hand. "Observe the guest seating," she said softly, almost as if issuing a command. "The placement affects conversation dynamics. Keep that in mind." Samantha tried to nod, but Madison, ever the self-appointed social media commentator, leaned in and whispered, "This is going to be viral. I mean, imagine the caption, 'Surviving the Parker Christmas Inspection.'" Samantha forced a laugh, unsure if she was amused or panicking. The dinner began with what one could generously call controlled chaos. Every movement Samantha made was subtly evaluated. Every pour of water, every offer of bread, every laugh. She was halfway through presenting the salad when Linda's gaze cut across the table like a laser. "Carrots are sliced too thick. Balance is critical. Think of proportion as an emotional mediator." Samantha froze mid-motion, staring at the offending carrots. Emotional mediator? She had never considered vegetables in this context. Meanwhile, her phone buzzed incessantly. Dana, her boss, was clearly unaware of the tactical Christmas mission unfolding across town. Emails had escalated to near-panic status, delays in shipping, confusion over holiday budgets, and a request for Samantha to send morale-boosting emails to the entire office. She balanced her phone on the counter while juggling the bread basket and maintaining her smile. Each email read like a new challenge in a video game designed to test her patience, multitasking ability, and sense of humor. Ryan caught her eye and leaned in. "Babe, you're doing fine. Remember, teamwork. We've got this." Samantha let out a shaky laugh. "I feel like I'm fighting two wars at once. Ryan, one here, one there, both equally brutal." By dessert time, the tension reached its peak. Linda had stationed herself near the table, clipboard poised. Silently grading the efficiency of dessert service, Samantha placed each slice of pie with utmost precision. But it wasn't enough. "Temperature is slightly off. Presentation could be more cohesive," Linda commented in her calm, decisive tone. Samantha exhaled loudly. "Cohesive pie. Right. Got it." At the same time, Madison had started filming again, narrating the scene like a hyper-detailed documentary. And here we see Samantha Parker, master of multitasking under duress, navigating the complexities of Parker family Christmas dynamics. Samantha's jaw dropped slightly. "You're welcome?" she said, unsure whether to laugh or cry. Across town, Dana's latest message demanded immediate action on a miscommunication between two office departments. Samantha tapped away on her phone, trying to solve professional crises while simultaneously serving dessert, keeping a conversation alive, and mentally measuring table symmetry. Ryan, noticing her spiraling slightly, pulled her aside. "Hey, step back. One task at a time. Let's just focus on this moment. Samantha nodded, letting him guide her gently to the side. I don't even know how I made it this far, she whispered. You've survived worse, Ryan reminded her. Remember our first holiday together? She smiled faintly, recalling the chaos of mismatched decorations and burnt cookies that had seemed like disasters then. Compared to this, those memories felt like a vacation. Linda's gaze shifted from the dessert table to Samantha. You're holding up, that's commendable, she said, almost a whisper. Almost a rare nod of approval. Samantha's relief was short-lived. Madison suddenly shouted, Everyone, pose for the annual Parker family Christmas photo. Cameras ready! Samantha froze. Photos. Positions. Angles. Strategic alignment. She glanced at Ryan, whose raised eyebrow silently reminded her. Teamwork. They corralled the guests as best as possible. Richard Parker adjusted everyone like pieces on a chessboard. Step 3 inches left. Smile naturally, but with authority. Yes, that's it. Samantha found herself trapped in a surreal mix of a military drill, a social media livestream, and a holiday dinner. She wanted to laugh. She wanted to scream. She wanted to hide in the pantry. When the final photo was taken, she sank into a chair. Mentally exhausted, Ryan came to her side, handing her a glass of water. You did it, he said softly. One more day to go, and then we can breathe. Samantha took a sip, letting the cool water soothe her frazzled nerves. One more day, she muttered, unsure if she was speaking about Christmas or the office emails still piling up. She looked around at the gleaming house, the perfectly measured plates, and the still recording Madison somewhere beneath the tension. Beneath the relentless structure, Samantha realized something. This chaotic, ridiculous, tactical Christmas was shaping into something unforgettable, even if it nearly killed her sanity first. And outside, the evening lights twinkled as if cheering her on. A silent reminder that despite the chaos, the holiday spirit remained undefeated. Samantha Parker, armed with pasta, determination, and a fragile hope, braced herself for the next wave. The office meltdown that awaited her, Samantha sat at the kitchen counter, trying to catch her breath. The Parker family's inspection-style dinner had officially ended, but the aftershocks lingered like a distant storm. She thought, maybe now, finally, she could relax. Maybe she could sneak in 5 minutes to answer Dana's growing mountain of emails without accidentally burning the house down. She picked up her phone and froze. 3 new emails blinked urgently. One from Dana. Immediate attention required. Smith account discrepancy. Please handle before the day ends. Another. Holiday morale newsletter draft due by 3 p.m. Do not fail. And the third, the most ominous. All department heads are requesting confirmation on their team schedules. Now. Samantha let out a slow exhale, feeling the tension tighten like a coiled spring in her chest. This is it. The office is officially melting down, and I'm the only firefighter with a teaspoon. Ryan noticed her panic from across the room. He walked over, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Breathe, Sam. One thing at a time. You don't have to solve it all at once. I can't even breathe one thing at a time, she muttered, scrolling frantically through her inbox. Every subject line was like a ticking bomb, each more urgent than the last. She opened the first email, the Smith account discrepancy, and realized it involved an entire chain of miscommunications that could easily consume her for hours. Just as she began typing a careful response, Madison popped her head into the kitchen, phone in hand, narrating again like a hyper-enthusiastic documentary host. And here we see Samantha Parker simultaneously fighting corporate chaos and home invasions, maintaining an aura of composure that is almost human. Samantha groaned. Almost human is not good enough right now. By mid-afternoon, chaos officially became a living, breathing entity in her house. Dana's emails kept piling in, every notification ping slicing through her mental calm. Each message demanded instant action, approvals, clarifications, and updates she didn't have time to fully read. She answered as quickly as possible, juggling spreadsheets on her laptop, while keeping one eye on Linda's meticulous rearrangement of the living room. Table decorations must follow a harmonic symmetry, Linda said, glancing over her clipboard. It ensures emotional balance during conversation. Samantha's coffee had gone cold hours ago. She felt as if she were moving in slow motion, a puppet whose strings had been tangled between corporate obligations and military precision family demands. Suddenly, the office phone rang. She jumped, spilling a little of her coffee. It was Dana, and her tone left no room for delay. Samantha, we need a solution to the Smith account issue now. Everyone is waiting, and the morale newsletter, it's incomplete. Where are you on that? Samantha clutched the phone with one hand, her other hand frantically arranging dessert plates on the counter. Dana, I'm in the middle of a full-scale home operation. Could I? No excuses, I need results, now. She felt her pulse spike. Yes, I understand. After hanging up, she let out a long, shaky breath. She felt the weight of two worlds pressing down, one requiring perfection, the other demanding diplomacy, tact, and absolute control over every minor detail, and she was failing both, at least in her own eyes. Ryan, sensing her approaching breakdown, pulled her to the couch. Sam! Stop! Just stop for a minute. Focus on me, not the emails, not the pies, not the inspection. I can't, she whispered, voice tight. If I leave the emails, the office collapses. If I leave the kitchen, your mom notices. I can't win. Ryan took her hand. You don't have to win. You just have to survive. And I'm here always. His calm presence anchored her in a way she hadn't realized she needed. Samantha leaned into him, allowing herself the briefest moment of relief. But just as she did, Madison, ever the narrator, squealed, Emergency live update! Uncle Richard has started reorganizing the spice rack based on alphabetical order. Samantha groaned. Her eyes darted to the kitchen. Spices indeed were being measured, cataloged, and meticulously aligned. Dana's next email pinged. Samantha, any progress on the Smith account? The finance team is panicking. Samantha rubbed her temples, whispering a silent plea to the universe. Just 5 minutes, please. Just 5 minutes of peace. Ryan placed his hand on her shoulder again. Then let's make 5 minutes count. No one is dying, Sam. Not the Smith account, not the pies, not even the alphabetized spice rack. For a brief, fleeting moment, she allowed herself to smile. Perhaps surviving was not about perfection. Perhaps it was about taking a deep breath and holding on to whatever little victories came her way. A nod from Linda, a calm word from Ryan, or even a small laugh at the absurdity of it all. Samantha Parker, the multitasking soldier of holiday chaos, realized something profound. She might not have control over every detail, but she could control how she handled the storm. And somehow, staring at the battlefield she now called home, the house hummed with controlled chaos. Richard Parker was rearranging the spice rack for the 4th time that morning. Madison, ever the narrator, had already begun live streaming, commenting on every minor adjustment Samantha made. Linda Parker was scanning every corner with her clipboard, like an air traffic controller watching a runway. And somewhere, the faint buzz of emails from Dana was growing into a full-blown siren in Samantha's mind. For the first time, Samantha didn't panic. She had a plan. Step 1. Prioritize. She listed the most urgent tasks, emails, family inspections, dinner prep. She would tackle them one at a time. Step 2. Delegate. Madison could manage social media. Ryan could manage his father. And step 3. Take 5 minutes for herself. She took a deep breath, letting the aroma of cinnamon and pine ground her. This wasn't about perfection. This was about survival. And maybe, if she was lucky, a small victory. The office chaos erupted in perfect storm timing. Dana had emailed again. Samantha, the Smith account issue is unresolved. Finance is panicking. Urgent action required. Samantha pulled up her laptop at the counter and began typing, her fingers flying across the keyboard. She compartmentalized each problem, giving it her full attention one at a time. From the living room, Linda Parker spoke. Dessert presentation is acceptable, but we could enhance symmetry with slight adjustments. Samantha glanced over. Ryan had already stepped in, gently guiding Linda toward less disruptive activities while she focused on the emails. The beauty of the plan began to reveal itself. By delegating responsibilities, Samantha found herself actually managing the chaos instead of being crushed by it. Madison posted an update. Samantha Parker in her natural habitat, multitasking master, chaos conqueror. Samantha laughed quietly, shaking her head. Maybe this would go viral. Maybe not. She didn't care. By midday, home and office were both humming with an uneasy but stable rhythm. Dana's repeated pings had slowed. She had responded to the Smith account, sent the morale newsletter, and confirmed schedules. Samantha even had time to breathe. Just a little. Then came the final inspection. Linda Parker walked through the living room, eyes scanning the perfectly set table, the aligned desserts, the strategically placed candles. She paused, looking directly at Samantha. "You've adapted well," Linda said quietly, almost approvingly. "I expected more mistakes." Samantha blinked. Thank you? Adaptation is a skill," Linda said. "You've passed this portion of the mission." Samantha felt a surge of pride. This wasn't about winning a perfection contest. This was about navigating impossible expectations and coming out standing. Ryan appeared beside her, smiling. "See? Teamwork works?" Samantha nodded, sipping her now lukewarm coffee. The house was still alive with activity, but for the first time that day, it didn't feel like a battlefield. She had the upper hand. Dinner that evening was a celebration of both perseverance and victory. The Smith account had been resolved. The office newsletter had gone out, and the Parker family, despite their relentless inspections, was genuinely enjoying themselves. Madison smiled brightly. "This has to be the best Parker Christmas ever!" Linda Parker gave her subtle nod. Richard Parker adjusted the chair one last time, and then smiled faintly, almost tenderly. And Ryan? Well, Ryan just held Samantha's hand and whispered, "You did it. You survived. And you made it look effortless." Samantha leaned back in her chair, exhaustion and triumph mingling. She realized something profound. Perfection was impossible, control was fleeting, and chaos was inevitable. But resilience, humor, and teamwork, those were the real victories. As twilight settled over the Parker household, Samantha Parker looked around at the glittering lights, the smiling family, and the sense of quiet accomplishment. She allowed herself a small grin. She had survived the storm, and somehow, in the midst of it, she had thrived. The holiday battlefield had been won, not with flawless execution, but with patience, humor, and courage. And maybe, just maybe, she had learned the true meaning of Christmas: imperfect, chaotic, and beautiful in ways that no inspection or email could ever measure. The morning after the battlefield dinner, the Parker household was quieter, but the hum of activity was still alive in the air. Samantha Parker moved through the living room, picking up stray ornaments and straightening napkins, but the intensity of yesterday's inspections had softened. Even Linda Parker seemed less like a drill sergeant and more like a proud general surveying her troops. Samantha smiled faintly. She had survived the hardest day of the Parker Christmas. She had survived the office meltdown. Somehow, by pure grit and clever delegation, she had survived herself. The phones were finally quiet. Dana's latest email had been a single, benign note. "Great work on the newsletter and account resolution. Enjoy your holiday." Samantha exhaled, letting herself feel the weight lift off her shoulders. Ryan appeared in the doorway, stretching. "Well, soldier, the battlefield is calm for now." Samantha laughed softly. "For now, but I think I can finally enjoy the holiday." Across the room, Madison was snapping candid photos, her narration finally light and playful instead of intense commentary. And here we see Samantha, triumphant in her natural habitat, coffee in hand, victorious smile, chaos conquered. Even Richard Parker cracked a rare smile as he aligned the last few chairs. You handled yourself well, Samantha. Very well. Samantha felt her chest swell with pride. Not because she had pleased the Parkers perfectly, not because she had executed every task flawlessly, but because she had faced the storm and come out standing. That, she realized, was enough. Lunch passed with laughter, rather than tension. Stories were told, jokes shared, and even small disagreements, like who got the last slice of pie, were handled with humor rather than military precision. Samantha realized that this was what the holiday was truly about: connection, joy, and the imperfect moments that became memories. Later, as evening approached, Samantha and Ryan stepped outside to the quiet, snow-covered front yard. The house glowed warmly behind them, lights reflecting off the snow like tiny stars. Samantha inhaled deeply, letting the crisp winter air fill her lungs. You know, Ryan said softly, taking her hand, you were amazing these past few days. I don't know how you did it. Samantha smiled, leaning into him. I had a great team. She glanced back at the house, at Linda, Richard, and even Madison, all absorbed in their own holiday routines. And maybe a little luck. Ryan chuckled. Luck, skill, and pure stubborn determination. That's my wife. They stood together in the quiet, snowy yard, letting the world slow down for a moment. For Samantha, it was the first real moment of calm since the Parker family had arrived. The battle was over. She had survived. She had thrived. And she had discovered something important. Even in the chaos, love, humor, and teamwork made it all worthwhile. Back inside, the Parker family gathered around the tree for one last holiday tradition. Exchanging gifts, laughter rang through the living room as presents were unwrapped, jokes were shared, and Samantha even found herself enjoying Madison's playful social media commentary. By the end of the evening, Samantha sat back, exhausted but content. She had faced the storm of family expectations, corporate demands, and her own self-doubt, and she had come through stronger, wiser, and happier. As Ryan wrapped an arm around her shoulders, she whispered, Next year, I'm bringing earplugs for all of us. He laughed, kissing the top of her head. Next year, we survive together, and maybe even enjoy it. Samantha Parker smiled, leaning into the warmth and the lights, the chaos and the love. She had survived the Parker Christmas. She had survived herself, and she knew, deep down, that this holiday would be remembered, not for perfection, but for resilience, laughter, and the beautifully messy reality of family and love. The morning after Christmas arrived quietly, almost deceptively, as if the universe had decided to give Samantha Parker a well-earned break. Sunlight spilled gently across the living room, illuminating the twinkling lights on the tree and the carefully placed ornaments that had survived both inspection and human chaos. Samantha stretched and smiled softly. No urgent emails pinged from Dana. No surprise inspections loomed from her in-laws. The house felt peaceful, almost normal, in that impossibly rare sense that comes only after surviving a holiday storm. Ryan appeared behind her, yawning. Morning, Commander of Chaos. Sleep well? Samantha laughed, a soft, content sound. I think I finally can, at least until the next wave hits. From the living room came the familiar voice of Madison. Samantha, come help with leftovers, and maybe one last photo for the year. Samantha rolled her eyes playfully. One last photo? You're going to make me famous at this rate. Even Richard and Linda were unusually relaxed, smiling as they organized the final pieces of the holiday puzzle. The stern military precision had softened into warmth, and for the first time, Samantha felt like she belonged, not as an outsider navigating impossible standards, but as part of a team that could laugh, compromise, and simply enjoy the season together. By mid-morning, Samantha had organized the leftover desserts, packed away most of the decorations, and even managed to answer a handful of post-holiday emails from the office. Dana had sent a simple message. Enjoy the holiday break. You've earned it. Samantha exhaled deeply. Letting the tension flow out of her shoulders like melted snow, Ryan appeared at her side, handing her a mug of steaming hot cocoa. "You survived," he said, voice full of pride. "And you didn't just survive. You conquered." Samantha took a slow sip, smiling. "Conquered? Barely. But yes, we survived. And somehow, I even enjoyed it." He wrapped an arm around her, drawing her close. "Next year," he whispered, "we plan. And maybe we sneak in some actual fun before the inspections begin." Samantha laughed, resting her head against his chest. "Next year we survive and enjoy. That's the mission." As the Parker family gathered for one last group hug, Samantha felt a quiet, deep joy. She had learned that perfection was impossible, that chaos was inevitable, and that love, humor, and teamwork were the real victories of the season. Even the small, chaotic moments, Madison filming her live, Richard adjusting chairs one last time, Linda giving the subtle nod of approval, all added up to something meaningful, something she would remember forever. By evening, the house was calm. Snow fell gently outside, coating the world in soft white, a quiet testament to the passage of the holiday storm. Samantha and Ryan stepped out onto the porch, hand in hand, the cold air biting gently at their cheeks, but the warmth between them glowing brighter than any Christmas light. "Ready to call it a successful mission?" Ryan asked, grinning. Samantha smiled, leaning into him. "Mission accomplished," she said softly. "And next year, maybe we even enjoy it." The stars twinkled overhead, the world hushed in winter magic, and Samantha Parker finally allowed herself to feel completely at peace. She had survived the Parker Christmas, conquered the office chaos, and discovered the true meaning of resilience, laughter, and love. And in that quiet, glowing moment, she knew that no matter what challenges the future held, perfectly aligned ornaments, chaotic emails, or the next holiday storm, she could handle it. With humor, patience, and Ryan by her side, she could face anything. The holiday battlefield had ended, victory had been claimed, and Samantha Parker, exhausted but triumphant, smiled, knowing she had not only survived, she had thrived. Snowflakes fell lightly around them, lights twinkled inside the house, and in the warmth of family, love, and laughter, Samantha realized Christmas wasn't about perfection, it was about survival, joy, and the people who made every chaotic, beautiful moment worth it. She squeezed Ryan's hand, looked back at the house one last time, and whispered softly, "Next year, let's do it all again." And for the first time in what felt like forever, Samantha Parker truly believed it.